Fox Sports.
We are the Fourth. We are Ohio.
Oh, man, what a night, what a night, what a night in downtown Cincinnati. Big Avid Brothers show after the concert, after the ball game, and the Reds and the Pirates to tee it up at 6:40 tonight, an early start time. And we welcome you to Great American Ballpark. Hi again, everybody, alongside Chris Welsh and Jim Day. I'm Tom Brenneman. Great to have you with us on this Saturday night. All right, Luis Castillo. We always get excited when this young man takes the hill. A little odd start for him on Sunday down in Atlanta. Break some of that down for us.
Well, you know, Castillo throws 100 miles an hour. Not all the time, but he can touch that. But his fastball, when he throws the four-seam fastball, is rather straight. So if he gets it up in the zone, thigh high, and at a hittable part, you may not get a lot of solid contact, but you're going to get foul balls, and that's what happened with Castillo last week. He just didn't seem to have that put-him-away pitch that we've seen before. Only 2 strikeouts, or 8 strikeouts overall for Castillo. He's always got good control, but you want to be able to figure out a way to get through some easy innings, and I think that's really the next step for Luis Castillo, figuring out how to get that ball down in the zone and using that fastball, which, by the way, is faster than any other fastball, any other starter's fastball in the National League. In fact, tonight we've got a feature between La Piedra and the Coltrane, who happens to be second in fastball velocity, and Steven Strasburg, believe it or not, comes in a distant third. So 2 hard throwers on the mound tonight. That sounds like excitement.
Well, Garrett Cole has had his troubles with the Reds, to say the least.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's last year 0-2 with a 6 earned run average. Overall, he's 0-6 with a 5 earned run average. He just has not figured out a way to get the Reds out. And I'll tell you why. I think his fastball doesn't play quite as much as it used to. He used to have a lot of heavy sink on that fastball. Now it's straightening out a little bit. He's got good command. He's got a really good slider. So he's got everything that you need to be a winning pitcher. I mean, after all, he's won 10 games. But he has yet to figure out how to beat the Cincinnati Reds.
Last night, I'm not sure anybody can hit balls harder than Scott Schebler did.
You know, when you have a flat swing coming out of a body like Scott Schebler and you hit it in the sweet spot, look out. I mean, this guy is some kind of tremendous athlete, but as strong as an ox. Now that his shoulder feels good, he's following through. He can hit the ball to all parts of the ballpark and all parts outside the ballpark, too.
All right, when we come back, we're going to have our news and notes from the main man on the Reds beat. That would be Jim Day. He's been talking up these young Reds pitchers for the better part of a year and a half. Robert Stevenson, Castillo, Big Sal Romano. Jim Day next.
Hey guys, meteorologist Brandon Orr here from Local 12. The weather here in Cincinnati has been so nice over the past few days. Low humidity. We're not dealing with any chance of rainfall. Completely dry out there. Sure, we have a few clouds around, but that's about it. 74 degrees to start the game, falling into the 60s by the end of the game. In fact, by early tomorrow morning, we're going to be back into the 50s here in Cincinnati. Enjoy the game right here at Fox Sports Ohio.
Tell you what, this might be the best night of them all. It is perfect right now here, Great American Ballpark. The Reds are hoping another youngster can back up what Sal Romano did and Robert Stevenson did last night as Luis Castillo goes to the hill. Stevenson last night, maybe the best we've seen him, certainly the best beginning and the best start, setting a modern club record for 6 consecutive strikeouts to begin a game. That's exactly what Bob did overall. 5 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 2 earned runs. He did walk 4, but struck out a career high 11. So got that pitch count up a little bit. The next step for him would be to get deeper into a game. But you look at the Reds starters starting to shine. This is what you want when you're going into next year. Big Sally, Bob, and La Piedra. Last 2 times through the rotation, 6 starts, 3-1 record, and a very nice 2.34 ERA. La Piedra. Luis Castillo with Toki 2 going against the Coltrane. Players Weekend continues here on Fox Sports Ohio. Tom and Chris are next.
Very talented young Reds right-hander set for his 13th major league start here tonight. Good crowd on hand. On a picture-perfect weather night in Cincinnati, the Pirates starting lineup under manager Clint Hurdle. Brought to you by Menards. Marte in left. Princeton High School's very own Josh Harrison at second. And Andrew McCutchen back in there in center. Bell at first, Freeze at third, Adam Frazier in right. Jordy Mercer, Chris Stewart, Garrett Cole the latter third. 2 up, 6 down, but a very fine 3.45 ERA for Mr. Castillo.
Yeah, you wonder, how's this guy lost 6 games, right? With the way he is throwing the ball, maybe wins aren't what they used to be. Anyway, Castillo, not a whole lot to dislike about what he does on the mound. La Piedra, the rock on the hill for the Reds tonight.
It's interesting to note that this will be the first time in his young major league career that he will face the Pittsburgh Pirates. 2 starts ago, he faced the Cubs for the first time, and my oh my was he good that night at Wrigley Field in a 2-1 Reds win. He got a no decision in that game, but went 6 innings, allowed 2 hits, no runs, and fanned 7. He has only made 2 of his 12 starts inside the division. Breaking ball in there, a strike. His second big league start was against Milwaukee. He's faced the likes of the Nationals a couple of times, Colorado, Arizona a couple of times, the Yankees, Miami, San Diego. There's a ground ball to short. And this will take care of Marte for the first out of the ninth. We look at the Reds on defense, presented by Ford. A night off for Cozart. Peraza moves over to shortstop, and everybody else the same, as took the field in the 9-5 series opening game victory last night. Josh Harrison at 280, a National League All-Star this year. Not only the pride of Princeton High, but also a UC Bearcat. In there a strike, says Tim Timmons. Jeff Kellogg, the umpire at first. He's a crew chief of this group. Chad Whitson at second, and James Hoy, the umpire at third. Here's Castillo, one of 4 rookies currently in the Reds starting rotation, and we are excited to tell you the 4th will be joining the team tomorrow. It has been an incredible year for Tyler Mahle. Reds announced after the game, and we had it for you first right here on Fox Sports Ohio, that he will become the 29th pitcher, the 15th starter, the 16th rookie pitcher, and the 9th rookie starter to appear in a game for the Reds this season. What a year he has had. Started the year, of course, at Pensacola, where he made 14 starts. He's made 10 starts at the AAA level for Louisville. His last 3 have been outstanding. Even though he suffered a loss in his most recent outing on Monday, he went 7 innings, allowed only 3 runs, did not walk a batter. And if you want a guy that throws strikes, Tyler Mahle is your kind of guy.
You're not kidding, and that's the reason why he's here. And maybe one of the reasons why he has not been here earlier has nothing to do with his ability, but only his age. He's only 22 years old.
So the Reds will approach the month of September, and I'm not sure anybody saw this coming, and I don't care how versed you may be on the Reds organizational ladder, who's where, who is pitching where. If somebody would have said to you the Reds would have 4 rookies in their rotation starting on, roughly August the 27th, and you would have been asked to try and name who those 4 starters were, you might have guessed Sal Romano, you might have guessed Robert Stevenson, but I don't think anybody saw Luis Castillo and Tyler Mahle being a part of that quartet. 3-2. May have thought Cody Reed, may have thought Amir Garrett, may have thought Rookie Davis. But those 3 guys are all in AAA. And they have been leapfrogged on the totem pole by Castillo and Mahle. First strikeout of the night.
Well, a blazing fastball atop the zone right there. I'll tell you what, Josh Harrison's a good fastball hitter, and he just blows it right by him at this one.
I want to ask you something real quick. That follow through right there by Castillo was something you talked about that Michael Lorenzen began to fall into a little bit, almost a recoil. Any similarity there?
No, I don't think so. I think what you're looking for, Tom, is really extension over the left knee. See that when your head starts going, a lot of hard throwers will follow through a little bit towards first base. Nothing wrong with that. But Lorenzen got to the point where he was standing almost straight up upon release. I don't think that Castillo is doing that at all. And one way to tell is watch his heel. You watch his right heel right here. Well, if that thing flies up and you can see him pushing off there, that's where you get your extension towards home.
McCutchen had a streak of 34 consecutive games reaching base safely at Great American Ballpark came to an end last night, and he only had one at bat. He was a pinch hitter and struck out in the 9th inning. It's the 3rd longest such streak in ballpark history. Joey Votto holds the other 2. And gone swinging McCutchen in a 1-2-3 opening inning for Luis Castillo. Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by Chevy. Check out their award-winning lineup only at your tri-state Chevy dealer, and by Skyline Chili. Feeling good. It's Skyline time. Take a look at the Reds starting lineup presented by Menards. Hamilton, Peraza, Votto to start it. Duvall bats cleanup. Jeanette in the 5-hole. Suarez down at 3rd. 7 spot Schebler, Barnhart 8, Castillo 9 against, on paper anyway, the Pirates ace. 10-game winner, right-hander Garrett Cole.
He was the unanimous #1 pick when he was chosen in the same draft, by the way, that Robert Stevenson was chosen, 2011. And he's won 10 games this year, and he's without a doubt their ace. His main pitch over the years has been a hard sinking fastball. Runs it down and away from left-handers and down and into right-handers. But for whatever reason, Garrett Cole has just not been able to win against Cincinnati. He has had some of the more frustrating games I think that he's ever had in his career against this ball club.
We mentioned Cole, a career 0-6 with an ERA of over 5. In fact, he has started 9 games and the Pirates have not won a single one of them. Pirates are 0-9 in his starts, and he has at least 1 win against every other team that he's ever had a start against. Swing and a miss by Billy Hamilton. There was a time, and it's not to say it still can't happen, but based on what you were talking about earlier and being the #1 overall pick coming out of UCLA, there was a time a lot of people thought this guy was going to blossom. In fact, almost unanimously, to borrow your word, people thought he would become one of the top 3, 4, 5 pitchers in the National League. And so far, it has not happened. And so you say to yourself, will it happen? If you're the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Well, you have to remind yourself also that Garrett Cole is still only 26 years old. He will turn 27 in a week or so. And he's won 57 games and lost only 38. So he's nearly 20 games over 500, which in today's game of baseball, it puts you in elite status. Billy tried it with 2 strikes. Haven't seen him do that in a long while.
So one away in the inning, and here comes Jose Peraza. He was the hero here a couple of nights ago, you may remember. Had that pinch hit. 2-run double in the 8th inning off Pedro Strop for the Cubs, giving the Reds a 4-2 win. So if he hits that ball where he hit it the other night right now, looking at where McCutchen is playing, that'll be a 3-base hit with nobody slowing him down out in front. McCutchen very shallow and playing towards right center. You can understand why. Most of balls put in play this season by Peraza have come to the far right-hand side of his second base bag and into the outfield.
Well, I can see why McCutchen would play Peraza there tonight, but I still don't understand why the Cubs would have Ian Happ where he was, in a situation where if he gets a ball over his head, you lose the ball game. You know, if you hit a ball over your head right now over McCutchen, you get a double, maybe a triple, but you don't necessarily lose the game. But they had no idea of what a prevent defense was, at least from an outfield perspective, and maybe they were just falling in love with those hit charts a little bit too much.
Well, Peraza over the last 3 weeks, when he gets a chance to play, has been a .343 batter with an on-base percentage of .440. He hits this ball basically in the same place he hit it the other night, but this one is caught. The one the other night was a little bit more left of center. 2 down in the inning. Pirates on defense. McCutchen back out there. Got his first night off as a starter since the All-Star break last night. So they move Frazier over to right, Marte back to his normal spot left. Now Joey Votto drew a 9th or 8th inning walk last night after going 0 for 4 prior to that trip to the plate. So he's reached base safely now in a season high 29 in a row, which is also the longest active on base streak in the major leagues. During the streak, a .381 batter and a .545 on base percentage. Check swing on a pitch in. Barehanded throw. That's a nice play on both ends right there by Freese and Josh Bell. Each team retired in order in the first. No score. Brought to you by Elk & Elk. How well the Reds have been playing against these Pirates so far this year. They've won 9 of 11. And in the history of this rivalry, only the 1986 stretch of 10-1 was a better 11-game start in a single season. You know, the Pirates are far better from an overall record standpoint than the Reds. I mean, they're 6 games better than Cincinnati in the standings. But don't tell the Pirates that when they play these Reds. Josh Bell had a good night last night, having a really good rookie year at 4 hits, including a 3-run home run, scored twice. Very, very good numbers.
You know, it's interesting. The Pirates have a winning record against the Cubs. They have a winning record against the Milwaukee Brewers. They're 8-5 against the Brewers. Yet it's the Reds they can't figure out, and I think that is just probably keeps Clint Hurdle awake at night. Gotta like the way Josh Bell plays. I mean, hustles all the time.
Yep.
I think he had, what, 3 or 4 hits last night? 4 hits, one of them an infield variety hit that he really busted down the line to get.
And he was busting it right there.
I'm not so sure you can say that about all the Pirates, though.
Well, we saw it firsthand last night with Starling Marte. And that's a guy who's already been suspended for, at least up to this point, the majority of this season. David Freese, longtime Cardinal, spent some time in Anaheim, and now the last couple of years with the Pirates. 9 home runs, 43 runs batted in. Of course, he'll forever be a part of St. Louis Cardinals lore. And this guy had a postseason that ranks among the all-time greats in the history of Major League Baseball by any player. That was the year the Cardinals won the World Series when they beat the Texas Rangers. Freese was the most valuable player of the league championship series when they beat Milwaukee, and then in the World Series drove in 7 runs. He knocked in that year, starting with the division series, 5 runs as he's gone here, then knocked in 9 runs in the league championship series, and wound up driving in 7 more in the World Series. 21 runs batted in. And if you're wondering, that's an all-time record. Three strikeouts for Castillo, and he's retired the first 5. You know, that last start of his, Chris, he threw 90 pitches in the game in 4 innings. Of the 90 pitches he threw, 27 were foul balls. He had 11 swinging strikes. Only 8 of the 90 pitches that were thrown by Castillo in that game were put in play.
Well, that'll wear you down. I mean, he only went 4 innings, and that's one thing I think that is consistent among a lot of young pitchers, that they still haven't figured out how to get out there and have an easy inning, how to put a little finger pressure on the ball, miss the bat, but get him to put the ball, miss the sweet part of the bat, but get the hitter to put the ball in play. I mean, Greg Maddux used to take the mound, and he would say to himself, 3 pitches or less to every batter that came to the plate. That was his goal. And I'm not so sure that's the goal anymore. I think the goal is once you get 2 strikes, you know, I'm gonna strike this guy out. And we see it with opposing pitchers when they get the Joey Votto 0-2. I mean, it's almost guaranteed 8-pitch at bat when he goes down 0-2. It's a lot more fouling pitches off now than ever before. I always thought what Maddux said about an 0-2 count was the most fascinating approach ever, because, you know, there's some stigma sometimes about giving up a hit on an 0-2 count. Why did you give up a hit on an 0-2 count? Holy Moses. Well, Maddux would say, what better pitch would you want to throw? Have you ever seen the batting averages on 0-2? course, I had a manager that would fine you if you gave up an 0-2 hit.
Who is that?
Dick Williams.
It's your old buddy. Did he write a book about you or a chapter in a book about you?
Let's not go there tonight.
I thought I remembered
You
that.
have a selective memory, I think. With a sophomoric tilt.
Amen. Amen. Getting in front of it. Jeanette throws out Frazier. 6 up, 6 down. No score after an inning and a half.
Garrett Cole on your left, both drafted in the same year, 2011. And boy, that first round of 2011, what notable picks came from that. I mean, you have heard of a lot of these, and they've had major impact with their teams. Anthony Rendon, Trevor Bauer, Francisco Lindor, Javier Baez was just in town, George Springer, Jose Fernandez, Sonny Gray, and picked at number 27 in that group was Robert Stevenson out of high school in California. Garrett Cole, by the way, was a first-round pick in back-to-back years. And I think that was the first time that had ever happened when he was selected the year before in 2010 as number 1. And I was talking to Chris Buckley, the Reds vice president of amateur scouting, before the ball game tonight, and I asked him about Cole. And I said, was this guy without a doubt a consensus first pick? He said every team, if they had had the number 1 pick, would have selected Cole. Every one of them. So when you pick at that part of the draft, you know, first, second, or third, you're almost, not entirely, but you're almost guaranteed a major leaguer.
Cole has shown signs of being that guy everybody expects, especially when you look at 2015. I mean, that is a mighty fine year. But you see what happened in 16. He battled through some injury problems. Chris mentioned he's still very young.
Well, in 2015, he was 24 years old. That's exactly the age of Luis Castillo. Pirates that year won 93 games.
Well, the question you ask yourself is, you know, when he came up in 13, he goes 10-7. He makes 19 starts that year, ERA 3.2. He goes 11-5 in 22 starts the next year, ERA 3.5.
Yeah, but
has the big year in 2015. But then last year he makes 21 starts. This year he's on pace to, for the first time in his career, to take the ball to 33, 34 starts over the course of the season. He will certainly be knocking on that door to hit 200 innings for the second time in his career. But is he making progress in results? Now, if he's giving you more durability than he ever has before, there's a lot to be said for that, especially in this day and age when it seems like guys are hurt all the time, especially pitchers.
You know, in that year that he was, what, a 19-game winner and 24 years old in 2015, he was surrounded by a number of other veteran pitchers in that rotation. He had Francisco Liriano in the rotation. You had A.J. Burnett. And I think those guys really had some positive effect of taking the pressure off a young guy like Cole. Since that time, he has been the guy. And sometimes, you know, that's a heavy load to take when you're only in your mid-20s.
Slow tapper to the right side. Harrison gathers himself and throws out Jeanette. So nary a base runner for either team so far tonight. Eugenio Suarez at 273 and a batting average continuing to rise night by night. On base 3 times last night, 2 hits, a walk, 3 runs scored. He's on base 3 times the night before that. I mean, every time you turn around, this guy's on base, mixing in a lot more walks, as we've talked about lately. Only Joey Votto has walked more times in the month of August among all players in baseball than Suarez.
You know, one of the things that managers do, I don't know whether it's in their DNA or not, but I know that every manager I've ever talked to do it all the time. They think about their lineup, how they can improve their lineup, who can I move around to get the maximum out of it. I'm wondering how many nights Brian Price has been pondering, especially more in the last 3 or 4 weeks, about Suarez. I mean, would I like to get him up there in front of Joey Votto somehow? But you know, would he be able to stand the pressure of being up near the top of the lineup? Because you get pitched differently early in the lineup than you do, you know, when you're down a little ways.
Sure.
Although the kind of power numbers he's had this year, he's getting a lot of respect. It's a good slider.
And that's strike 3, and that will end the inning. 3 punch outs for each pitcher. Perfect thus far. Here's weekend at MLBshop.com with limited edition Reds jerseys and tees featuring player pick nicknames. Available while supplies last at MLBshop.com. A fanatics experience. So here we go in the third of a scoreless game. Castillo and Cole off to perfect starts through the front two. Jordy Mercer looks at a ball. Real good crowd tonight. I think it tells you a lot about not only folks wanting to see baseball, but also about the concert tonight. We've got some good acts this year, but we were told that, you know, as far as popularity currently being popular, that the Avett Brothers were by far the headline act during our Ohio Lottery concert series this year, and there are lots of folks that have turned out tonight.
That would be a great concert.
One and two on Mercer. Foul.
You know, the Pirates are ahead of the Reds in the standings, Tom. We've already talked about the reason why. It's all about the starting pitching really at this point. But if you look and compare these two lineups on paper and ask yourself, all right, position by position, who would start if you had the choice between their guy or the Reds guy? And I'd be hard pressed to find, you know, one or maybe two, you know, of the Pirates that would start on this Reds ball club if they were on the same roster. That's a nice pitch right there. That's a changeup from Luis Castillo. You can kind of, you see that grip. It's kind of a modified circle change. A circle change is also known as an OK change, where you make an OK sign, and with the three fingers that are extended, you put the ball in there, and you, as you throw it, you kind of turn it over a little bit so that your pinky finger ends up on top. But he's got such great arm action and is able to kill the speed of the ball by about 10 miles per hour. Which is the biggest difference between fastball and changeup in the National League.
Chris Stewart getting a start again tonight. Francisco Cervelli came off the disabled list prior to the game last night and then promptly injured a quad muscle just before the game tonight. They have placed him back on the disabled list. And they brought up a young catcher from their minor leagues. One and one to Stewart, who checks in at 191, and that's a little bit high.
Most people, Tom, when you talk about pitchers, especially hard throwers, the first thing they talk about is how hard the guy throws. But for me, I would rather know what the difference is between how hard he throws and his changeup. Because if you throw 98 miles an hour and your changeup is 95, it's not much for the hitter to adjust. But the bigger the difference, the better. And what you're looking right here is in the National League, the biggest difference between fastball and changeup is Luis Castillo. And look who's number 2, Johnny Cueto. So I just think that's the one thing that has a chance to really separate Luis Castillo from the rest of the pack, because he'll only get better and better. You'll see fewer and fewer walks to the number 7 hitter in the lineup, like he did just right here with, or the 8 hitter with Chris Stewart. Because his concentration will be different. You get more familiar, more comfortable out there.
Cole, a pretty good bunter, has 7 sacrifices so far this year. Pulls the bat away and looks at a ball.
Reds are trying to make him bunt into a trap. Got Suarez way in there. You got Joey Votto hustling down the line hard. And Castillo's quick off the mound.
Votto thought about it, and he'll take the out at first base. So a successful sacrifice, the 8th of the year for Cole. Stewart in a scoring position, and back to the top of the order the Pirates go with Marte coming to the plate. Marte is still standing in the on-deck circle. So first runner reaching base safely for either team is the one-out walk to Stewart. So now he becomes a first base runner for either team to get into scoring position. 2 outs. Marte grounded out to Peraza, leading off the game. Steve Reich 1, 99-mile-per-hour fastball, knee high on the outside corner.
How about running that off about 20,000 times?
This is playable. Who wants it? Votto the call, Votto the catch, and that's all for the Pirates in the 3rd. A walk, 1 left, no score after 2.5.
And big influences in my life. I have my parents, my mom and my dad. They just obviously been big influences in my life, especially in baseball. But you know, more than just baseball, just in life in general. So it's just a little thank you to them. Obviously, I could never thank them enough, but it's just a little thank you.
Growing up in Iowa, Scott says his parents split the duties to get him to his baseball games and his older sister to her softball games. And he said Mom ended up keeping score for all of our games. So the journey's been amazing and an amazing ride with he and his family. So Sheb, or Bam Bam, will step in to lead it off.
All right, Jim Day. Hey, Jim needs that sport jacket down there tonight. He's got a chance to get pretty chilly.
Feels good tonight.
Well, it is such a glorious night. Today, I'm not sure you could ask for a more perfect day. That we certainly think of those in the Gulf of Mexico and some of the Gulf Coast states that have been slammed with all that rain. The hurricane itself did not turn out to be as severe as they thought, but it's brought so much rain, power outages, and certainly we think of all those, and thoughts and prayers for everybody to be okay. Chevrolet just shoots it the other way on a Garrett Cole 95-mile-per-hour fastball. That's nice hitting right there.
You know, I know it's not as simple as Scott Scheffler's making it look, but I mean, it appears to me like he's just stepping up there and saying, all right, see the ball, hit the ball. Boy, does he ever hit that ball right out of the catcher's glove.
First base hit for either team tonight. Leadoff single here in the Reds' third, and now Tucker Barnhart had a good game last night. Tucker on base 4 times. 1 for 1. There's a fly ball into left. One away in the inning. You know, we've been watching Joey Votto. It started really in Chicago, you may remember, where he threw like a changeup into the stands. There's a perfect bunt by Castillo. And then he tried to throw one out of the stadium. Well, one of our associate producers, night in and night out, Lauren White, her mom's at the ball game here tonight, Barbara. And now watch Votto after he caught that final ball in the inning. He can't throw it out of this ballpark, but he launches it up into the upper deck. That's Barbara there in the far right. And her friends wound up getting that ball. How about that? Section 530 and 29 up there. And she's keeping score of the ball game tonight. She's dialed in. Good for her. All right, so now Billy Hamilton with a chance to get the Reds on the board. Schebler out there at second with 2 away. 1-1 to Hamilton. Oh, what a great night for anything. Be a nice way to spend a Saturday early evening, 7:30 approaching Eastern time. Just popped up and should end the Reds' third. Marte comes in. That's only an 8-pitch inning for Garrett Cole. No score at the end of 3. Ultimate spring training experience in Goodyear, Arizona. It's sponsored by the Reds Community Fund. 2 lucky winners will enjoy breakfast with the team. You have a VIP treatment. I mean, this is airfare, hotel, you name it. Raffle tickets are $100 each. And all proceeds benefit the Reds Community Fund. Email raffle@reds.com or call 765-7700 on the very first pitch. And this Castillo will take this because even though he's only through 3 innings of this game, he's thrown 51 pitches in the game. Not that that's a ton, but you know, with all the strikeouts he has already, 4 of them along with a walk, you'll take him if you can get him a couple of 1-pitch outs.
Yeah, I mean, an out is an out, and the sooner you get it, the better.
And 2 the count on McCutchen, who struck out his first time up. First time McCutchen and all these Pirates are getting a look at Luis Castillo here tonight. And McCutchen with a count of 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Had a hanger right there, McCutchen did, and put a swing on. He'd like to have that one back.
And 2 has become 2-2 now on McCutchen. And the break-even pitch on the way. Tapper out in front of the plate, and that is a fair ball. That's a smart play right there by Barnhart. And of course he's a smart player, so that should come as no surprise. But he was not going to let that ball roll foul and give McCutchen another swing.
Well, I think for an experienced catcher, it's an instinctive play where you realize right away you're going to pounce on it well before that runner is going to be able to get to first base. But you've got to get to it while it's still fair. That little bleeder like that we've seen now out of Josh Harrison to start the inning, now McCutchen, those have both come off that little 2-seam fastball. That the more Luis Castillo throws that pitch, the more easy ground balls he will get. He didn't throw a 2-seam fastball until he had already had 7 major league starts. In fact, the first time he threw it was when the Reds were in New York playing against the New York Yankees. And he had been 100% 4-seam fastballs until that time, and his fastball was rather straight. He'd been working with Mac Jenkins a little bit in the bullpen about working on that 2-seamer, and it's been a really good pitch for him. And it's not a major undertaking to have a pitcher go from a 4-seamer to a 2-seamer. It's basically, you know, using a different grip, but it is also getting used to more movement. And I think that's where he's still struggling, as to how to control that baby, because it moves so much.
That ball ripped down the first base line into the corner by Bell. And he's on his way to second with a 2-out double, the first Pirates hit of the night.
Hey, this guy's making a believer out of me.
No doubt about it.
I really like the way he plays. I mean, he reaches to get out there and get that ball. Hustles all the time, has made some good defensive plays at first base, scooping low throws. And looks like he has fun playing the game.
Well, you know, the tail of the tape, and you and I were talking about this, and we'll get into it in the next half inning. Because you've got Freese up there in a scoreless game with a runner in scoring position and 2 outs here in the 4th. But so many times you'll see a young player hungry, trying to establish themselves in the major leagues, i.e. Bell. And the question becomes, are they that same type of player once they get that mega contract that basically sets them up for life if they're smart with the money? You know, you look at a guy like Votto, and we were talking about this in between innings. I mean, he signed one of the richest deals in the history of Major League Baseball at the time. No one has continued to grind and play harder and play better and play more regularly than Votto. No one's in better shape. No one approaches his craft with more professionalism and dedication than Votto does. He has continued to find the edge to be a great player, knowing the money's guaranteed, and you know, half of it at this point is all in the bank. You'd like to think that we watch Bell. He moves forward, has a great major league career, makes all the money he can, that he's still playing the same way 7 years from now as we're watching today. One and two to Freese.
You know, speaking of Josh Bell, the Pirates did a pretty nice job in that 2011 draft. We already talked about Garrett Cole going first. Josh Bell was their 2nd round pick, and their 5th round pick was Tyler Glasnow, who is projected to be in their rotation for a long time.
Bouncing ball foul wide of third. So now Castillo trying to put away Freese and keep it at a scoreless game. Boy, these pitches are really starting to climb up there for Castillo. And I mean, he's only walked one batter. This is number 67, and we're in the 4th inning. 68 is coming up.
Well, if the worst thing he does is throw too many pitches, that can be worked on. You know, I think because he's got such a good fastball and a nice delivery and such poise on the mound, you automatically, you know, raise your expectations to that of a 10-year veteran.
Base hit into left field. Here comes a runner. Here comes Duvall, and he has done it again. The 13th time this year, a major league best, where Duvall has gunned down a base runner. What an unbelievable year this guy's having at the plate and in the field. Brought to you by Miller Lite. I mean, how many times, Chris, are we going to watch Adam Duvall and Billy Hamilton throw runners out on the bases?
Well, you got to consider with 2 outs and a pretty good runner on the base pass, this is very unlikely. But the play on both ends of this, Duvall gives Barnhart a good throw to handle, and Barnhart basically just throws his body out there and says, you know, the only way I've got to do it, I've got to dive in front of Josh Bell and see if I can tag him out. What a great play. You know, I really believe a play like that, Tom, fires up the home crowd more than does a home run, because you don't see it as often.
Although this Reds team, we see it pretty often.
Yeah, you sure do.
I mean, golly day, as a team, the Reds lead the major leagues in this category. That is 35 assists.
Unbelievable.
35 of them. And we said Duvall, you know, his 13th, number 1.
I tell you, you know, we've talked a lot about Peraza lately. You know, he hasn't played a lot, but, you know, he's really worked very hard on trying to get his whole body kind of in sync. And the way he hit the ball against the Cubs to win the ball game there with the double over the head of Ian Happ, and the ball he hit today that McCutchen caught right at the center field wall is an indication that his upper half and lower half are working in sync. And that's really what Don Long's been trying to do, and Tony Jaramillo, and trying to get him to stay back with his lower half, and that way his upper half doesn't drift over the plate, and when you swing, you just swing only with your arms. So he's got that almost a little toe tap. We've talked about that before, but he stays back very nicely now, much better than before. 2 strikes, a little different story. But
oh, that was close. Yep, good call down there by Jeff Kellogg, the crew chief and first base umpire tonight. Just ahead of Peraza's foot, the right foot of Garrett Cole. Joey Votto on a 1-2 pitch, little half swing, ball met bat, and a roller down to the third baseman Freese, who made a nice barehanded play to throw him out. This time hooks a first pitch down to Bell. He nearly overran that ball, almost tripped over it. Tripped over his glove, but they get the out in time. You know, you're looking at Cole, who, when he first came to the big leagues, one of the hardest throwers in the league. He's still among the hardest throwers in the league. In fact, second only to Luis Castillo, his mound opponent tonight. But you can see a more maturing pitcher where, you know, he's allowed 1 hit in this game. Castillo's allowed 1 hit in this game. Cole has struck out 3. Castillo's walked 4, or struck out 4. Castillo's walked 1. Cole has not walked 1. Yet Cole is trying to get through 4 innings in fewer than 50 pitches, whereas Castillo is at 70 pitches through 4. I mean, take a look at these last 2 innings. 15 pitches to get 5 outs.
you know, sometimes it's the pitcher and sometimes it's the hitters that you're facing. I mean, if you face a team like the Atlanta Braves, ultra aggressive at the plate, it's hard to run up your pitch count if you're going to throw strikes. The Reds, however, they can be pretty patient. But he's throwing a lot of first pitch strikes. Did not do so here to Duvall. But I mean, if you're up there expecting the pitcher to throw you strikes, you're going to come out of the on deck circle swinging the bat. Nobody wants to go down no balls to 2 strikes.
And make no mistake, Cole is a strike thrower. For a guy who throws very hard, He's only walked 40 batters in 164 innings.
It's no accident. Well, look at his delivery and watch his head and see how much his head moves throughout his whole delivery. I mean, the closer you're able to hold your head to its original spot, the better your control is going to be.
On swinging new ball, and that's all for the Reds. 4 strikeouts on the night. No score. We go to the 5th.
Unlimited baseball break. Yoenis Cespedes placed on the 10-day DL with a right hamstring injury. Reds will see the Mets for the first time coming up on this homestand. And how about Rhys Hoskins? He hit his 10th home run of the season today in only his 17th game. First player in NBA history with 10 home runs in his first 20 career games, and he did it in 17, getting into the record books.
That is pretty incredible stuff. That's not too bad either. A juggling act right there. Not bad at all. Is he on stilts doing that? Wow. Of course, we're still waiting on Jim Day to ride his unicycle around the concourse of the ballpark. He bragged about how good he was on it one night, and we've still never seen evidence at all.
I don't own a unicycle.
No, but you used to own one.
I did 30, 40 years ago.
Well, you're the one that brought it up that you were a unicyclist.
I never said good. I said I could do it.
Chris, did he not say it was good?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, you got to get me a unicycle here.
Is that all it's going to take?
Cheap like that other Brennan.
Well, we're on TV tonight, so I'm sure he's dialed in back on the home front.
I'm sure I'll be lit up here in a moment. All good. That's all it will take, by the way.
That's right.
I'll give it a shot.
Pulled to the right side by Frazier, and Jeanette down on one knee to make sure. Young Mr. Castillo could use a quick pitch efficient. Most of his innings have been quick tonight. 2 perfect innings, and the other 2 where he walked one and allowed a couple of base hits. Got the great play behind him defensively by both Duvall and Barnhart to chop down Josh Bell trying to score from second base on a single by David Freese in the 4th inning. Jordy Mercer struck out his first time up.
This is the part of the order where you could really help your pitch efficiency. You get down here 7, 8, and 9. I mean, there are certain guys in the lineup that you're thinking, I'm going to get them out. They may go 1 for 4 on the night, but for the most part, I'm getting them out and I'm going right after them. Now, if you want to throw a few extra pitches to Josh Harrison and Andrew McCutchen, those guys have earned that, and they're going to be tougher outs. But you're hitting 7th and 8th for a reason.
And that's all she wrote right there. A fastball at 99 miles per hour. I'm not quite sure what Mercer must have been looking for there. That's a 2-strike pitch. It's right down the can. That ball drilled off the bat of Stewart. And he does have a quick inning. 1, 2, 3. Total of 11 pitches in that inning for Castillo. Ticket package and bring your best friend down to the ball game. We'll have a special on-field parade, pregame activities in the Kroger Fan Zone, and so much more. Purchase today at Reds.com/Dog Day. That'll be coming up this week against the New York Mets. Tell you why we have a moment. Fox Sports Ohio and the Reds would love to send out a big birthday wish to Howard Jackson Ferguson, celebrating his 89th birthday today. Native of Portsmouth, Ohio. Currently catches all the Reds games in his home in Sholo, Arizona. Boy, is that beautiful country out there. Howard Jackson Ferguson, I don't need to tell you that. He is a combat veteran of the Korean War. Sholo, Arizona. I've been there a long time. Second straight night we honored a World War II veteran here at the ballpark tonight. Tonight it was Earl Fox. Look at him, standing tall and proud. That's an American. World War II, the greatest generation. Pretty nice play right there by that young man. He's got a sweet seat up there in one of the sky boxes. course, his kids can care less. They just want to open that bag of cotton candy. Scooter Gennett fouls it out of play. Cole v. Castillo. Been a good one so far here tonight. Pirates with 2 hits. Reds have made the big play on defense to keep it a scoreless game when Duvall threw out Josh Bell at the plate in the 4th inning. What a nasty pitch that was right there. Goodness gracious. If a Red hits a home run off that Toyota sign in right center field, Nicholas Mai from Edgewood, Kentucky, will win a new Tundra. You can register for a chance to win it. You stop by your Cincinnati and or Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. 5 strikeouts on the night now for Garrett Cole. And here's Suarez, who struck out his first time up. Through this point in the ball game, this is by far the best you've ever seen of Garrett Cole. And again, he's made 9 starts in his career against Cincinnati. 9 of them. His team has not won a single one of those starts. And Cole is 0-6 with an earned run average of over 5. Look at the opponent batting average, the career ERA. Just hard to believe a guy with this kind of stuff, and has never beaten one of his divisional opponents 2 outs in the inning.
And it's not like he comes in here on some kind of great shutout role. I mean, his last time out, he pitched 6 innings, gave up 5 runs against the Dodgers. Before that, 6 innings, 4 runs at Milwaukee. I mean, he did put together a couple of quality starts before that, and he had a string of those for quite a while, going all the way back to the very end of June. But I mean, we're not looking at, you know, Clayton Kershaw type numbers, but he's putting up a pretty solid season.
So 2 down for Schebler. Slow breaking ball drops in there, a strike. Schebler, the only base runner of the night for the Reds against Cole so far. He had a single into left field his first time up and wound up being stranded in scoring position out at second. 0-2. Boy, that slider down and in. That's what they call the back foot slider. The batter swings at it, and it almost hits him in the back foot by the time they finish the follow through. That's how good it's been tonight for Cole. And the other way, a 2-strike breaking ball, and right between the shortstop and the third baseman, same as he did the last time, although the last time they had the big shift on him and he hit it a little closer to the line. He is 5 for 5 and has been on base 6 times in this series.
Well, what he's been able to do is just wait so long. I mean, you see his hands stay back, his foot gets down, and his body doesn't ride forward. He just keeps his hands and his body back there.
Nothing at 2 on Tucker Barnhart. Runner goes, and it's pulled by Bell, and on to third goes Schebler. So now Castillo has a chance. I love that call right there. If indeed that was a hit and run. Schebler was going on the pitch.
Well, it probably a straight steal.
Yeah, with 2 outs and the pitcher coming up. Yeah,
but you know, the ball gets down onto Josh Bell so quickly that you're really not in balance, and you think the ball's going to come up, and he makes a backhanded attempt. He didn't have a chance to get in front of it. So the Reds go first and third here, but.
Although I tell you what, Schebler was looking back like he was expecting the ball to be put in play. I mean, you wouldn't think it doesn't add up.
Well, you wouldn't do that in front of a pitcher, too.
No.
But a chance for Castillo to really help himself, picking up his maybe 3rd major league base hit.
Well, it'd be a nice one to get. Taking fastballs down the middle doesn't help the cause. He has 1 major league run batted in. Stealing second base is Barnhart. He now has a stolen base in each of the last 2 games. 4 of them on the year. You talked about it the other night. I think it was Homer Bailey. Now you just got to find a way to put the bat on the ball. You never know what can happen. Started 2. No.
Well, what you got to do if you're Garrett Cole is have a lot of confidence in your catcher to block a pitch just like that, because chances are he's going to throw another one down there. Because at some point, Castillo's going to get anxious and probably chase a pitch out of the zone. Choking up just a little bit here.
Well, he got a piece of it. He threw him a fastball that time.
Yeah, and he threw it thigh high. I'm really surprised that he just doesn't throw one around the bill of the cap at that level, and he'll probably get strike 3.
Well, let's see if Castillo can break this scoreless tie here in the bottom of the 5th inning. 2 strikes, 2 out, 2 on. Little check swing roller. And Harrison will throw him out to end the inning. So he put it in play. 2 left. Go to the 6th in a scoreless game.
Is presented by authority of the Cincinnati Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Take a look at our Honda game summary. It's been all about pitching, pitching, and pitching so far tonight. Castillo v. Cole.
Well, it was billed as maybe a matchup of the 2 hardest throwers in the National League, but it's been better than that. Zeros on the board where it counts. No walks for Garrett Cole, only 1 walk for Castillo, but defense on the part of the Reds. We've seen it all year long. An outfield assist, 13th by Adam Duvall. And a great play by Tucker Barnhart.
Well, you just gotta love the way Barnhart just sticks his nose right in there. I mean, that's like a middle linebacker in football when somebody's trying to come through that hole, and Barnhart just lays it out.
I don't hear anybody saying anymore that Tucker Barnhart's too small to be a catcher in the major leagues. But I sure heard it when he was in the minor leagues.
Well, the same thing they said about Dustin Pedroia coming up.
Yeah.
Same thing.
I'm glad Tucker Barnhart didn't believe it.
That's all that matters. All right, so here we go into the 6th inning. Castillo to face a man he's locked up with on the mound here tonight, Cole. Uh-oh. There's a drive into left field, and Cole is homered to break a scoreless tie here in the 6th inning. Oh, goodness. Third major league home run for Garrett Cole, but his first so far this season.
Always a dangerous place to pitch. The opposing pitcher is inside. And most of the time they're kind of bailing a little bit. They're not committed to hit the ball the other way, and Cole just gets a bat head out in front of that one.
Now Castillo, a big deep breath, gets ahead, strike one on Marte. 1 run on the board. Boy, Marte will be waving through that pitch the rest of his life, because that's back-to-back pitches that he was nowhere near. And he's gone on 3 in a row. Yeah, there are just some players in the league that you sit there and you just wonder, where are they headed? We don't know Marte. We don't see him play every day, but he's been here now for 1 game and a half. And his whole body language, the way he's carried himself, the way he's not run out ground balls, on the heels of the embarrassment of a suspension by Major League Baseball, which really hurt his team. Really hurt his team. Who knows? People go through good stretches and bad stretches, but right now, it's not been a good look from Starling Marte out there. You agree with that?
I agree 100%. I was stunned last night when he laid that bunt down, and it went right back to the pitcher, Stevenson, and he basically jogged to first base. And it wasn't a sacrifice bunt, it was a bunt for a base hit. I was just stunned.
This guy's been a good player for this team.
Yeah, he sure has.
You know, he missed a lot of time, injured last year, but he hit .311 in 129 games. He had 34 doubles. The year before, he had 19 home runs, 81 driven in. I mean, this guy is blessed with a lot of talent. Was a National League All-Star last year before he got hurt. We'll see. We'll see.
Well, you're going to have a chance to see him because he is signed to a contract that will keep him a Pittsburgh Pirate until he can become a free agent in 2020. That is, if the Pirates do not pick up his option for 2020 and then 2021.
On swinging Harrison. So back-to-back strikeouts on Marte and Harrison since.
Yeah, they got Marte on a high fastball, and he goes to Josh Harrison and with a little changeup down and in. This is the Johnny Cueto special. Really the first time I saw that work consistently. Now Maddox did that, but Cueto began to do that an awful lot. which is throw a changeup down and into a right-handed hitter, which most pitchers will just go away with the changeup. We showed you the leaderboard of the biggest difference between fastballs and changeups in the league, and Cueto is on that list along with Castillo, right around 10 miles per hour. It's pretty tidy.
100 miles per hour on that fastball to McCutchen. 1 ball and 1 strike. McCutchen is struck out swinging and rolled out in front of the plate. Tucker Barnhart threw him out his last time up. A home run by Garrett Cole for the game's first run, leading off this 6th inning. Reds will have the top of the order coming up against Cole in the bottom half. Beautiful look from the very top behind home plate at Great American Ballpark. Beautiful, beautiful night. And a rocket. Oh my goodness, can he throw him out? He will throw him out. What a play by Jose Peraza. Ohio, brought to you by Cincinnati Children's, changing the outcome together. And by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. On the banks of the mighty Ohio, welcome to downtown Cincinnati. Great crowd, beautiful night, and a special hello to all those watching over at Cincinnati Children's tonight. We hope this day has been a great day for you, and we pray for an even better one tomorrow. All right, 1-0 Buccos on the Garrett Cole home run. Top of the order, Hamilton, Peraza, Votto. Reds are hoping for more than that. Hamilton trying to bunt his way on for the 2nd time tonight, and it just doesn't happen. Hamilton has 4 bunt hits the entire year. 4 of them.
You know, I think the mechanics of Billy bunting right now is just not where he wants it to be. Even the first time when he tried, he bunted to start the bottom of the 1st inning on a 3-2 count. It was kind of moving out of the batter's box as he was bunting. That time he was trying to drag it with him. But you really drag it with the angle of the bat, not when you're running out of the box. And it's the only way you're going to get better at it is to continue to try. I've got no problem with Hamilton trying to bunt.
On the first base line, and And it looked like Bell could not get his footing in time. And man, can Peraza run. We talk about Hamilton all the time. Peraza can really run as well, and that'll be an infield base hit. I tell you, Bell has been stumbling around a little bit down there the last 2 days on some certain plays.
Well, right off the end of the bat right here, Bell looks like he should be able to get this ball and get to the bag. I don't know whether he slipped or what, but I think Peraza just outran the play. Almost looked like Peraza was trying to guide the ball that way. You know, he's only about a half a step behind Hamilton anyway. Now, I would suggest that because Garrett Cole doesn't hold runners very well at all, that Peraza stay aggressive out there and early in the count here get on second base so a single by Votto can drive you in.
He sure does take a long time getting that ball to the plate. At least he did on that first pitch. Cole picks that leg high into the air.
Cole has given up, well, coming into this ball game, 12 stolen bases. They've thrown out 1. Last year it was 18-2.
Peraza 16 of 21.
I mean, this is where I think a stolen base means something to the team. Sometimes you get a stolen base, all it does is add to the player's individual numbers. But a 1-0 game, that's when you want to push it.
And yet now a couple of pitches have gone by the Votto, and Peraza has not gone yet. There he goes. Pitch taken. Throw to second, and easily in there is Peraza. So if that's Garrett Cole's normal approach to the plate, I know with Votto with the plate you don't want to run into an out here, but you could easily steal third as well. Great numbers naturally for Votto in these situations. That's always been the case. 2-2. Votto 0 for 2 in the game tonight. A half swing roller to third and a bouncing ball to Bell down at first. But a big chance here for Votto with his team down 1-0 and a runner in scoring position. Oh boy, Votto did not like the call. He was fooled by the pitch. It was a changeup from Cole. 6 strikeouts. I think Joey knew it was a strike.
I think he did too. And the disappointment we see was probably just in him not being able to recognize it. That's a good pitch.
It's a really good pitch.
You know, that's an example of where a high changeup can be effective. Probably the last place Votto was looking for that.
And probably the last place Cole, don't you think, was trying to throw it?
Absolutely.
All right, now do ball's turn. You struck out twice tonight against Garrett Cole. Cole's got it all working here tonight. He's still throwing very hard. He's had an excellent slider, especially to the left-handed batters. He's put away Duvall twice on sliders down and away. He's a right-handed hitter. And I mean, very, very few pitches. 80 of them here with 1 out to go in the 6th. Trying to put him away again with that breaking ball, and it's outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Jeanette hoping for a chance here to bat in the 6th inning. Duvall trying to keep it alive and trying to tie the game up with Peraza out there at second base and 2 out. The 1-2 delivery from Garrett Cole is on the way. Cole thought he had made the pitch at the knees right there, a little bit low. Close.
Good setup time for the slider here.
And missed badly with it to run the count full. Boy, and all of a sudden here in a 1-0 game, seemingly every pitch, Cole and his catcher really grinding this thing out here in the last of the 6th inning. To these last 2 batters, Votto and Duvall. Now after the meeting, Cole's going to walk a good 10 feet out to the grass, circle the mound. I think he's still a little upset about that pitch before that didn't get the call on the fastball, the 1-2 pitch. I think he thought that was strike 3. He came back with a slider, missed, and now the payoff pitch coming on Duvall. Hot smash, nice pick by Freese. That's a good play.
Yeah, no choice.
1-0 Pirates. We head to the 7th.
Mi mamá y mi papá, bueno, ellos me ayudaron. Siempre estuvieron conmigo aquí.
The name that I have on the side of my jersey is my mom and my dad. Without them, I couldn't play baseball, and the support, it was amazing, and everything that I have right now is because of them. So I love you, Dad. I love you, Mom.
Mama y Papa on his sleeve, and Miguel Angel you saw on the back of his jersey. Peraza said it was the name of a close friend in Venezuela who died of cancer about 3 weeks ago. So instead of going with the nickname, he chose to honor his friend that has passed. A touching tribute.
Yeah, Peraza, quietly so, is a pleasant young man. You know, a lot of times these young players who come from Latin America and they're so young, especially Peraza, he's so young, and they don't have confidence in their ability to speak English and thus communicate with people here in the States from time to time. So frequently you'll see them looking down a lot and maybe not looking you in the eye. Peraza, Iglesias, and the man on the mound, Castillo. All three of those guys, along with, for that matter, Eugenio Suarez, just kind of spanning the rest of this field. I mean, the Reds have four, you know, Latin-born players that are very much look you in the eye, want to be outgoing, confident young men.
I agree 100%. The only one of those really who speaks very good English would be Eugenio Suarez.
Yes.
Everybody else, when you do a TV interview, you're doing it with an interpreter. But you know, I think you're right. I think Peraza is just a shy guy. I mean, it's just like the general society. Some people are shy. Some people are, you know, overly friendly, more social than others.
One out in the inning.
I'll tell you what, though, Castillo has just a. I guess he's got a level of coolness about him.
He almost a regal-like way about him. He's always dressed very sharp. You know, he always looks good. He's tall. He's
posture.
Yeah, he carries himself like a guy that's been pitching in the major leagues for a long time. I mean, he walks through the hotel lobby. It's not to say aren't other guys on a team, but when he walks through the hotel lobby, there are people like, oh, that young man's going places.
He's a big leaguer.
No doubt about it. There are minor leaguers and there are big leaguers. There are 3A guys, there are 4A guys, and there are big leaguers. I have to remind Jim Day of that all the time. He gets the 4A guys and the big leaguers confused from time to time, and we got to set him straight. That's good morning, good afternoon, and good night for David Freese. He has struck out in all but one of his plate appearances through the first 2 games of this series. 8 in the game for Mr. Castillo.
That's a slider right there that really doesn't do much, but because it was so much slower than his fastball, Freese just got way out in front of it.
Castillo has had 1 game where he has pitched through 7 innings. His career high was the 8-inning start in Miami. When he got the win, he went 8 innings, 3 hits, 1 run on the 30th of July. He's gone into the 7th a couple of other times. 6 1/3 against St. Louis to start after Miami. The next start after that, 6+ against San Diego. A full 6 against Chicago when he shut them out on 2 hits at Wrigley Field, but had to leave the game. But here he is now trying to get through 7. And that's his 104th pitch of the night. The most pitches he's ever thrown in a game was his 4th major league start in 6 2/3 at Arizona. Allowed 3 hits, no runs through 113 pitches.
Well, one of the things the Reds are going to have to figure out is, are they going to shut him down before the end of the season? You know, he threw 131 innings last year. He's got 150 coming into this game. So you're probably thinking the Reds are somewhere, I don't know, maybe 30 to 40 innings more than what he did last year.
And if you start really watching it, there's strike 3. So 1, 2, 3, 7th. He's retired 6 in a row since a home run. 9 strikeouts. Jeanette Suarez Shepler coming up. Team up with Girls on the Run. It's a great program, and their dedication to empowering young girls and instilling confidence through running. And you can learn a lot more about it and how you can get involved this fall. Visit Fox Sports Supports, all one word, .com. IGS bringing the energy. Lots of high fives down there for Luis Castillo and his brilliant performance tonight. And by that sign in the dugout, his night is over.
Just think about the last 3 nights of starting pitching for the Reds.
Yep.
That's exciting.
It is.
Sal Romano dominant against the Chicago Cubs the other night. And that's about as good a lineup as you will face if you're a right-handed starter. All those lefties in there last night. Robert Stevenson striking out, what, 11 or 12 batters in that game? 11. And Castillo with a solid 7-inning performance tonight. The only mistake was a solo home run.
Look, you take Romano's 7, you take Stevenson's 11, so you're at 18. 18 and 9, you're at 27. Okay, 27 strikeouts, 1, 5, 3 against 8 walks. You're better than a 3-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. Now, are strikeouts and walks and that ratio, is it everything there is to pitching? No, but what we've watched this year with so many young Reds pitchers, they've walked a lot of guys, and they've gotten themselves in trouble. They've not only walked guys, they've fallen behind in counts a lot, which have led to a lot of hits and a lot of home runs and a lot of runs. These 3 guys, the last 3 nights, have thrown a ton of strikes, and they've competed. So Brian Price has wanted to see guys that want to compete. It may not go your way every night of the week, but he wants to find out who's ready to compete at this level for 33, 34 starts a year. And Garrett Cole is just in disbelief out there on the mound. There was that pitch the last inning where he thought he had Duvall struck out. There have been 2 pitches in this at bat he had Jeanette struck out, he thought. And instead, a 3-2 pitch is whacked into right field, and that's up and against the wall. Scooter's going to slam on the brakes. That took a favorable bounce for Adam Frazier out there. And that is a long, loud single.
Well, hit very hard. The pitch after Cole thought he had him struck out. Count goes to 3-2. Scooter trying to leave the yard here, but it short hops the fence.
All right, now Jeanette, we talked about how slow Cole is to the plate. Jeanette is by no means a burner. He only has 4 stolen base attempts all year long. 2 good, 2 not.
Yeah, I don't see it. Cole is not exactly a prolific ground ball pitcher, but he has rolled up 12 double plays on the year. That's a middle of the pack number.
Double play ball here. Well, tomorrow, why not make Great American Ballpark your family day destination? Thanks to Klosterman Bakery, you get half-price Reds tickets. You can still do that online right now. Enjoy live mascot races for the kids. We've got face painters, carnival games, and tomorrow, kids 14 and younger get a Scott Schebler Fathead thanks to Cons. Log on to Reds.com. After a leadoff single, the double play ball induced by Garrett Cole. Schebler, a perfect night. A pair of sharp ground balls through the left side of the Pirate infield. And he's trying to tie it up with that first pitch fastball, swing and a miss. Quickly 0-2.
Well, what he's done with Schebler so far has simply not worked. Schebler a little bit of a ground ball right down the third baseline, and the first time up, second time up, a slider on a 2-strike count, 2-2 count that he hits in the 5.5 hole between third and short. So what teams have done in the past with Schebler is when they get ahead, they can try to climb the ladder and see if he can get him to chase that fastball up. For the most part, Cole likes to pound the bottom of the zone, but he's got the fastball to be able to ride it up the ladder.
Oh, and to the count on Schebler.
Slider in.
Pirates have action in their bullpen for the first time all night tonight. Cole closing in on 100 pitches. This will be his 98th. Juan Nicasio, right-hander. And he's not seriously getting ready. He's just starting to loosen up a little bit. Now, the Reds have had 4 hits over the last 3 innings after having just 1 hit through the front 4. Here's a 1-2 on Schebler. Bouncing ball to the right side from the grass. It's Harrison to throw out Schebler. We played 7. Pirates 1. Reds nothing.
The Reds Live, the pregame edition, brought to you by Ray St. Clair Roofing. First look at the lineup, features, interviews, Tom's tidbits, and more. And we're on the air 12:30 tomorrow, and a very anticipated MLB debut tomorrow. Jameson Taillon will go to the hill for the Pirates, but Tyler Mahle will make his Reds and Major League debut tomorrow afternoon, and it'll be a battery debut because Chad Wallach, with Stuart Turner away on paternity leave, will also make his Major League debut tomorrow. He's caught Mahle in AA and AAA, and yep, he's got bloodlines. His father, Tim Wallach, who's on the Major League coaching staff of the Miami Marlins. Don Mattingly has let him get away for a day. He's doing Cincinnati tonight, and will watch his son make his Major League debut tomorrow. One more note, another debut tomorrow. Second overall pick, Hunter Green, makes his starting pitching debut for rookie Billings tomorrow.
Wow, we've been waiting on that for quite some time since they drafted him the #2 overall pick in the June draft. It's going to be an exciting day tomorrow for Mr. Wallach, Mr. Mahle, Mr. Green. And for all of us to be here watching it, Wandy Peralta taking over now for Castillo. A 1-0 ball game. The Pirates in front. Garrett Cole has done it on the mound. Garrett Cole has done it on the plate. This night so far is the Garrett Cole show. Now we're going to see what Clint Hurdle elects to do here. I mean, his starter has been just incredible tonight. He struck out 6. He's not walked about it. He's allowed 5 base hits, all singles. But his pitcher is due up third, and he's right at the 100 pitch mark exactly. Now for a big strong guy like Garrett Cole, that's not a big deal.
Well, I think maybe more important, whether it's a big strong guy or not, is whether Clint Hurdle feels like he's still on top of his game enough to be able to give him at least one more inning. And I would suspect yes. I don't think if you ask Hurdle, do you have somebody down there in a bullpen, maybe other than your closer, who's better to pitch the 8th inning than Garrett Cole?
Of course, a lot of it might be dictated on what happens and how this inning transpires. You know, if Peralta retires the first 2 in the inning and there's 2 outs and nobody on, maybe you'll let him hit. But now after a leadoff single, Jose Osuna is out there where Cole should be. Here's Stewart 0 for 1. They ask him to bunt. He gets it down, and Barnhart will throw him out. So that's what we're talking about. You're asking the number 8 hitter in this position to sacrifice after that leadoff single.
That's kind of a giveaway.
Yep. So the Pirates are looking for another run. Read the lips here of Clint Hurdle. Nice going. And now Mac Jenkins will come trotting out of the Reds dugout.
Well, anytime you get it's almost mandatory around baseball now. If you get a pinch hitter, the pitching coach has to run to the mound and deliver the scouting report.
So Garrett Cole, 7 innings, allowed 5 hits, no runs, didn't walk a batter, and struck out 6. Oh, and by the way, the only run of this game was a Garrett Cole home run. First pitch of the 6th inning. And now meeting broken up on the mound by the home plate umpire Tim Timmons, and Jenkins headed back to the dugout. Reds have action in their bullpen. Shashin, the right-hander, along with Michael Lorenzen, a couple of right-handers. We saw Osuna as a pinch hitter in the game here last night. Came up in the 6th inning and struck out against Tim Adelman. So it will be Nicasio. He was a pitcher we told you was warming up when the Reds were batting in the 7th inning. He will be taking over for Cole in the 8th. And the Reds will have 8, 9, and 1 in the batting order. Tucker Barnhart, a pinch hitter for Peralta. And then the top of the order with Billy Hamilton. Wandy so far tonight just not as sharp with his stuff. There's a fly ball into right that'll back up Schebler all the way to the warning track. On to third goes Jordy Mercer. 1 more out to go. And Starling Marte will be the batter. Now they're going to come get Peralta or stay with Wandy. I mean, he's been really good against not only left-handers but right-handers as well this year.
Well, his main off-speed pitch before he developed the slider this year was changeup. And that is probably more effective against right-handers than left-handers.
Peralta against right-handed batters, they are hitting .237 against him. .237. The lefties are hitting .202. Marte has never faced, it's hard to believe in it, has never faced Wandy Peralta.
Not in the big leagues. Probably so over in the Dominican Winter League. They may even be teammates over there for all we know.
But it's still hard to believe when you've played a team 11 times this season. Now, Peralta wasn't up with a big league club the whole year last year, but he's been here all year this year, and he's pitched a lot of baseball this year.
Well, Marte's been out, remember?
You're right.
Sitting on the sideline
right.
watching.
Right.
Probably watching Fox, Ohio. Loving your commentary on it.
Sure. We have a lot in common. Me and
oh, were you suspended?
Tato. No.
Good.
Not saying it hasn't been warranted at some point in time, but
I think your statutes of limitations are over for those.
What's that, right around a year? 1-2. And it's fouled away. I know they're watching tonight up in your haunt up there at the Madeira Inn. They're dialed in up there tonight.
You better believe it.
I mean, they got some hardcore Reds fans up there. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Again in the dirt, and again Marte lays off of it. It's a big run out there at third base. Reds are down 1-0. We're in the top of the 8th inning. 2-2 to Marte. Gone swinging again. Nice job by Peralta. And we're on our way to the bottom of the 8th. Reds down 1-0.
All players on the field, but we asked the Reds players as we go inside the mine, what famous person would you like to meet?
Justin Timberlake. That's actually top of my list now that I think about it. I really want to meet him. He just seems like a really interesting, kind of down-to-earth guy.
I would love to train with Conor McGregor one day. That'd be an awesome time.
Donald Trump. That's going to get some boos, right? Yeah. No, I'd like to meet him. He's the president.
Yeah. Michael Lorenzen might be able to hang training with Conor McGregor. We'll see if he can hang with Mayweather tonight, though. And after Reds Live, the post-game edition, we invite you to switch on over to FS1 for fight coverage tonight.
Alrighty, Jim.
Post-game fight coverage.
Yes, indeed. That could be very late. I guess what the undercard of that thing isn't starting until, what, 9 o'clock, right? So that main fight may not be till late. Or some folks are just getting warmed up. So it's Nicasio who takes over on the mound for Garrett Cole, who was superb tonight. The best by far he has ever pitched in a game against the Reds. He's never beaten the Reds. Right now he's in line to get the win if his bullpen can hold up, but it's only a 1-run margin. It's been a good year for this guy. Another guy throws a lot of strikes. 58 innings, 18 walks as opposed to 59 strikeouts. 0-2 to Barnhart. Looped into left, but foul. And Zach Cozart standing in the on-deck circle. Nothing and 2 on Tucker. And that's strike 3.
Nicasio's got a little slider right there and it fools Barnhart, and Tucker just can't hold up. Ball gets away from Chris Stewart here, but as soon as Barnhart leaves that dirt area, he's automatically out. Probably didn't even know the catcher dropped the ball.
I tell you what, I saw a play, and we've all seen it, but I mean, one of the most stunning major league games I've ever seen in my life, and it's back when I was doing the Diamondbacks games, and they had real good teams, and the Braves had real good teams. And it was like a 4-run Atlanta lead in the 8th inning of a game at Old Turner Field, and Kelly Stinnett was the batter for the Diamondbacks, and he swung and missed on a play just like that, leading off an inning. He decides to sprint down to first base. The catcher throws the ball down the right field line, trying to throw it to the first baseman. They went on to score 5 runs in the inning and won the game. You never know what might happen.
Were there
the catcher,
2 outs?
1 out in the inning.
And there was a runner at first base?
No, nobody on base.
Oh, nobody on base.
I'm saying nobody on base. That's in the air off the bat of Cozart. Second out of the inning. Get inside the golf zone with our buddy Jimmy Hanlon tomorrow night. Highlights from the first leg of the FedEx Cup, plus helpful tips to bring down your scores. The Golf Zone, presented by Varmint Guard, tees off tomorrow at 8. Fox Sports Ohio, streaming on Fox Sports Go. 2 down. Hamilton, the batter. Kelly Stinnett was a Red for a short while.
Oh, yes, he was. Yeah. Good one.
Good, solid player.
You know what? I think Kelly is still coaching youth baseball. He might be coaching his kids, but he's got a really fine travel team out of the Phoenix area.
Well, there was a grinder there.
Oh, you're not kidding. Good guy. Hard-nosed player. Like Barnhart, he'd stick his nose right out there and block the plate.
He had a little more girth about him, though. He was built like a Volkswagen, that guy. 1-0 the count on Hamilton. See, there must be something about the Avon brothers, I'll tell you that. Because on a Friday night last night, on a perfect night, we had 20,000 fans. We have almost, well, 35,239 here tonight.
Well, the Reds marketing department knows what they're doing.
Yes, they do. We had a nice crowd for Flo Rida, but not this crowd. Not 35,000 plus. It's going to be a 1-2-3 inning for Castillo. We are going to the ninth. Pirates 1, Reds nothing. Ohio brought to you by Kroger. Stop by your neighborhood Kroger to save big store-wide. Great food, low prices at Kroger. By Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Toyota. For over 30 offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places. We've arrived in the top of the ninth inning, and the Zen Master, Michael Lorenzen, will take over on the mound here in the ninth. It's a pretty big league nickname there. You like that?
I like it a lot.
You had a long conversation the other day about you know, that recoil that you talked about a couple of nights ago that Lorenzen had at the end of his delivery.
Yeah. And the recoil, what we're talking about, is that he would release the ball and then kind of stand straight up and like almost go backwards, almost like throwing a dart, you know. And for the longest time, you know, the coaches talked to him. Mac Jenkins, Ted Power said, "Hey, you know, this isn't really helping you very much." And he kept saying, "Well, I feel better than I've ever felt." But the results weren't there. So he began to look at it a little bit and went through some drills really on how to get out over
him and Mac
front
Jenkins.
knee. I think we worked mostly with Teddy Power on that. Because of course Power's out there in the bullpen with him an awful lot. You know, it's really hard for the pitching coach to work a lot with the relievers. That's why you should have a really qualified bullpen coach as well. And the Reds have one out there in Ted Power. Anyway, he's really modified his delivery and he's throwing the ball much better. I mean, because the goal of a pitcher is not necessarily to throw it as hard as you can, but to get it to the plate as fast as you can. And that means getting more extension towards the plate. You can get 3 or 4 or 5 inches closer to home plate with good extension. Why not do it? That's where a pitcher becomes sneaky fast.
Two and two on Harrison. 2, 3, 4 in the Pirate batting order. Harrison, McCutchen, Bell. So Lorenzen getting the very heart of this lineup, and that'll be 2, 3, and 4 for the Reds in the bottom half of the inning. Peraza, Votto, Duvall. will foul again.
You know, part of the modification that Michael Lorenzen did was with his glove. And a lot of people don't realize how important the front side is when you're pitching, same way it is when you're hitting. But if you watch how he kind of breaks his hands and curls his glove right next to his leg, that keeps his front side back a little bit more, buys him just a little bit more time.
Left side of the infield playable for Suarez, one away. Looped into right field. Schebler will run it down. Now Lorenzen, despite pitching out of the bullpen the entire year, is a leading winner on this Reds team. He'd love to get win number 9 here tonight. That would mean he gets a final out in the inning and the Reds finish him off in the bottom half. Lorenzen got his 8th win 2 days ago. Reds Live post-game version brought to you by Performance Kings Honda, coming up right after the game tonight. Felipe Rovero is a closer for the Pirates. So left-hander. We'll see him in the 9th. There have been 21-0 games in the 15-year history of Great American Ballpark. None this year. Pull to the right side, and it is 1-0 with the Reds coming to bat in the bottom of the 9th. Peraza will start things off, to be followed by Votto and Duvall. September the 16th at Great American Ballpark, thanks to John Morrell. The first 20,000 fans through the gates receive a triple bobblehead. How about this? Featuring 3 Reds first basemen, past and present. Tony Perez, Sean Casey, and Joey Votto. That should be a huge day. Catch all the action as low as $12. Visit Reds.com. September 16. All right, here we go. Felipe Rivero. He has been among the hottest relievers in all of Major League Baseball. 14 of 15 as a closer this year.
Well, he didn't get the closing job until sometime in June. That's when Tony Watson, who was their closer, was traded to the Los Angeles Dodgers. He came over from the Washington Nationals, Felipe Rivero did, in exchange for closer Mark Melancon just about 13 months ago. A fiery arm left-hander.
Sean Rodriguez will take over at first. We talked about Bell. He's a really good offensive player, but they want to put their best defense on the field in a 1-0 game here in the ninth. You know, if you're wondering about this upcoming battle between the left-hander Rivero and the left-handed batting Joey Votto, consider this if you will. Rivero has not allowed a hit to a left-handed batter in 40 straight at bats. So it should be a good battle. 1-2 on Peraza. 1 of 3 in the game, had an infield hit, stole a base in the 6th. Garrett Cole, 7 innings, 5 hits, no runs. Hit a home run leading off the 6th inning for what has been the only run tonight. And Peraza is gone on strikes. 1 away. The last time a team won a game 1-0 where the only run was a home run by the pitcher was on July the 21st, 2015. Nate Carnes hit a home run for Tampa Bay as the Rays shut out Philadelphia 1-0. Votto against Rivero, career 0 for 4, 4 strikeouts, 2 walks. Pretty incredible what he's done against left-handers.
Right-handers not bad either.
No, not bad at all. See, Votto 10 long ones this year against the left-handers. How about number 11 here? Nope. Check swing. He did not go around. Didn't look like. No. And this time it is strike 3. So the consecutive on base streak very much in jeopardy. Plus the Reds can send this to extra innings and give Votto another chance, as he is 0 for 4 here tonight. Still life when you're down a run, and a guy who can tie it up on one swing of the bat coming up there in Duvall. Tonight has to be one of those nights for Garrett Cole where it's every pitcher's dream. I mean, outside of starting the game and completing the game and finishing off as a complete game shutout, a game where you shut the opposition out while you're in there, and that's 7 innings tonight for Cole, and you blast a home run when it's all said and done in a 1-0 outcome. You tell me. Does it get any better than that?
Not unless you could match it with a no-hitter like Rick Wise did back in what, 72 against the Reds. Hit 2 home runs in that ball game and threw a no-hitter.
Two and two on Adam Duvall. Reds down to their final out of the night, but only down 1-0. Duvall waits, and just a bit low. Brian Price with an interesting decision here. If, you know, Jeanette's had a great year for you. He has 22 home runs, but we talked about how nasty this guy's been against left-handers. Got Kivlahan on that bench, who's had some big hits. It doesn't matter.
Oh, wow. How do you end the game on that is what Adam Duvall is asking.
Strike 3 called to end it. And Rivero fans aside in the ninth in a 1-0 Pirate victory. Garrett Cole in his 10th start against the Cincinnati Reds for the first time is a winner against the Reds. And Duvall still fuming over that strike 3 to end the game. All right, Reds Live right around the corner. Play the rubber game tomorrow. Very excited about the Major League debut, about Tyler Mahle. Reds Live starts next on Fox Sports Ohio.